When I'm cooking for a big group of friends, I always like to choose recipes that are easy, super delicious, so they have to be a crowd pleaser, and I like to choose something that I can do ahead of time, so when the day comes, it's all very easy to put together, just like this salmon and cream cheese terrine. So first up, we need 1 kilo of cream cheese. I brought this out of the fridge about 2 hours ago. You want it to be at room temperature so it goes nice and smooth as it blends. So we'll place this into a food processor. And you can see that I've just chopped it into little cubes. That also speeds up the process of bringing it to room temperature. To this, I'll add some dill, 3 or 4 sprigs of dill. We don't want the stalks, and I'll just roughly chop that because it'll all be blended together with our cream cheese. A pinch of salt, not too much because the cream cheese has some salt, and some lemon zest. So the zest of 1 lemon, and I'll also add a small amount of juice to this. You don't want to be adding too much of the juice because you don't want this to be too wet. It does need to hold its shape as we spread it in our mould. Okay, so we'll squeeze that straight in. And that's how simple it is. So the lid goes on and we'll blend this until it's really smooth. Oh, this is looking just right. You can see all the little speckles of dill. Now I like to scoop this delicious cream cheese back into the bowl. So just we'll turn that. Saves on washing up. And then we're going to fold in the leek. Now, you don't want to be adding the leek to the food processor because it's going to chop it too much. We still want to see the little speckles of the leek. So for the leeks, what I've done is just place them into a pan. This is 2 large leeks, finely chopped them. You want to cook these for about 10 to 15 minutes or until they're really soft. And I highly recommend just placing the lid on when you're cooking them because they become really jammy just like this. So we're going to add our leeks and we'll fold that through our mixture. And what the leeks give this dish is a lovely sweetness, and leeks go so nicely with the smoked salmon. Now for the fun part, which is assembling the terrine. Now what I have here is a deep loaf pan. This one's about 20 centimetres long and it's about 9 centimetres deep. So you want it to be quite deep so we get lovely big slices of the terrine. I've also lined it with some cling film, which is going to make it so much easier to demold later on. So smoked salmon, I've got about 800 grams to 1 kilo of smoked salmon. So just on the flat side of the salmon, we're going to place that into the base and we'll overlap that with another piece. And we really just want to cover the entire base of it so there's no gaps whatsoever. And all in the same direction. That's looking good. Now I just like to place that on the side. We'll grab another piece of our salmon and again we're just laying this along the edges so we're completely covering the bottom and all the sides. Once I've done that, we can start filling it with our cream cheese and more smoked salmon. Okay, I've put the last layer of cream cheese and all we need to do now is just bring over the sides of the excess salmon. So just layering it over. And then once you've done that, we just want to press down on it slightly. Grab that excess cling film, wrap the whole terrine with it. You want this to be quite tight so it forms that lovely pan shape. Press that down. And just to ensure that we get a lovely even surface and just a bit of weight, we'll place another pan on top. This now goes into the fridge, minimum of 6 hours, but ideally overnight, or you could do this up to 3 days in advance. All right, this is chilled completely, so let's take it out of the loaf pan. Take off all of the plastic, peel it away. We're gonna pull down the sides. And then we're just going to flip it over, give it a bit of a tap, and then we'll take that off. Da, 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 da. That's one good looking terrine. Now to dress this. So I've got really thin slices of lemon and I'm just going to place this straight down the centre of it. It's not only pretty, but just a little pop of acidity is always welcome when it comes to salmon. Even just that looks pretty, but I've got a mixture of rocket and some extra dill leaves, so we'll just pop that over the top. I also want a pop of saltiness, so I'm going to get that from caperberries. Caperberries are large capers, loads of flavour. They look really pretty. You could just use classic capers if you like. So we're just going to cut this into big slices. We'll just let that cascade down and have a look at that. See, you see those little layers of extra smoked salmon I added to the centre, those creamy leeks. And there's just one thing missing from this, some bread. I've got some fresh baguette, but you could also serve this with some crunchy croutons. This is a dish that I would serve on a buffet. This will feed 20 people easily. You just grab a piece of bread, a big slice of the terrine. If you like, you can put a caperberry on top and then dig in. It's creamy, it's slightly smoky from the smoked salmon, and I love the sweetness from the leeks. It's also really elegant. That one, for your next party, put it on the list.